And good morning. Welcome to this nonprofit cybersecurity awareness training. And we're going to be covering a lot of information. So you might want to grab a pencil and paper so you can take some notes. But before we get started, I'm Dr. Victoria Boyd, and I'm the president and founder of the Philanthropreneur Foundation. And we are a nonprofit that supports nonprofits. That means we look for research, education, and resources to help you be a better nonprofit to serve your mission in the community. But I am extremely excited with this next project that we're going to do. You know, cybersecurity is impacting all of us. Everyone needs to watch out for cybersecurity. So I'm excited to partner with the Vanderson Cyber Group. And introducing, and my guest speaker right here is Mr. Mac Jackson Jr., and he's going to really inform us about things we need to be careful about because hackers are coming for your donors. Mac, welcome to this presentation. I know the viewers are going to gain a lot of information and knowledge.
Thank you, Dr. Boyd. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Hey,
Excellent.
it's always a good day when we can do training.
That's right. Absolutely. Yeah, looking forward to this.
Okay, so we have a great slide presentation, and let's fire that up and get it going. With nonprofit cybersecurities, hackers are coming for your donors. First, let's talk about the why, because the proof is really in the data. I've looked at some data and have become amazed at what numbers I'm seeing. Like one number was 89% of organizations haven't even checked some of their malware. 94% of malware is delivered by email. So what do you think about all this data? What data do you have?
Yeah, it's really interesting too to see this, that companies are not realizing that cyber attacks aren't a case of if it will happen, but it's when it will happen to their organizations. And they need to be prepared by having proper procedures set up to protect their data assets.
Absolutely. And if any of the viewers want to get a full list of all of the data that we've gathered, they can go to our website, which will show them at the end. But once they see the data, they're going to realize this is something they can't play around with. They need to get on this and take action right away. So let's look at what we're going to talk about today. Of course, cybersecurity. But 3 points that this presentation will really highlight is first, understanding organizational risk. Most organizations, especially nonprofits, haven't thought about the total umbrella of where these risks can come to their organization. And then next, implement mitigation. You're going to give us just a few tips of what they can do, but mostly it's going to be about training. And then, as you said, it's not if it's going to happen, it's when it's going to happen. So prepare for the cyber incidents that are on the horizon and be ready for them. So this is what we're going to cover. You got anything else to add to this?
This is great.
Okay, let's go to our first one. We start with risk assessment. And with any program or a project you're putting together, you assess what's out there. We're looking at risk assessment. So what does it mean to really inventory your vulnerability?
Great. What this basically refers to in the cyber world is to basically take inventory of your data assets. What parts of your organization and your data assets can be at risk? Is it, when we talk about the donors, how are the information for the donors saved within your organization, your supporters, all that data, that information, is it on the cloud? Is it located within your local company? Do you make backups and send these backups to another location? These are the data assets that we're really referring to. And that's when we say assess your inventory. We're also talking about your information regarding your employees that work within your organization, their information, their personal identifiable information, like social security numbers, credit card numbers, even vehicle identification numbers. All of these are data assets that you need to inventory to see what do you actually track regarding your customers, donors, employees, and vendors.
And that's vulnerable spots. That's where the hackers can get in, all of those things that you just mentioned.
Mhm.
Okay, risk assessment. It's almost the very first thing that you need to look at. So let's look at what's next. Secure configuration. When I first saw that, I was like, configuration of what? So when was your last website software update? How important is that?
Yeah, it's very important to update your website to make sure that you have the latest updates as well as other technologies you have. For example, your smartphone. Make sure you have latest updates for all of your applications. Make sure you have latest updates on your operating systems, on your PCs, your laptops. Your manufacturer of your laptops usually issues updates on a regular basis, and you'll notice these as pop-ups on your screen stating that there's an update that needs to be done. Definitely take advantage of the updates, but these updates could have vital information regarding a fix or a patch that the manufacturer discovered that should be assessed and taken care of, fixed on your machine.
Absolutely. Because I hate to, I admit it, sometimes I look at it as an annoyance. Oh my God, they want to update this. It's going to take 30 minutes for them to do it. And
Right.
I have to admit, yeah, I'm guilty. I skip it sometimes and say, I just don't have time for that right now. But
Right.
it needs to be done. Yes,
Mhm.
absolutely. Software update. And that's even for some website plugins or add ons that go on to different things. You can automatically have updates or a program installed that it automatically helps you with all of the updates. I know it's hard to remember all of this stuff, but it
Sure.
has to.
And be careful. You also should be careful too of some of the plugins that you have within your system. And again, this more is for small organizations that really don't have an IT team. They're basically doing it themselves. Be careful some of the updates and plugins because some of the plugins, if the organization or the company that you're getting the plugin from, if they were to get hacked and have malware and you do an update from them, you could also transfer the update to your machine as well. So you really need to make sure that you have proper virus detection software on your machine.
Yep, absolutely.
Antivirus software. Yeah, antivirus software installed on your machine that regularly tests your machine and looks for anything that looks suspicious on your machine and isolates it, quarantines it, and deletes it from
Yep.
your
Mine
org.
does it every morning at 4 o'clock in the morning. Just it pops up and said, "We just did your scan." I'm like, "Yes." Okay, what's next on this list? Implement access controls. Who has keys to the kingdom?
I
You
like that.
know, and nonprofits, I hate to say it, are notorious for passing out passwords. Here, well, here's how you get to the database, especially to their volunteers and different people that they feel are helping them out. But that means they have keys to the kingdom. And how many volunteers have passwords? That's vital too. And then how often are they changed? So what is some of the key things about implement access controls?
Well, the first thing I see here is a term that we call in the industry as cybersecurity professionals, the human factor and the weakest link. And
Mhm.
the human factor is the weakest link to all of this. And your most dangerous, if you would, parts of your security system are your employees.
Yeah.
Your employees. And if you have someone working for you that is properly vetted and they have keys to the kingdom, meaning password access to all of your data assets, including your donors, your employees, your vendors, your bank accounts, checking accounts, that could be detrimental if that person were to go rogue within the organization. So it's very proper to have proper access controls and contracts with your individual employees, letting them know their roles and responsibilities, what they can be liable for as well. And with proper training with these type of policies and procedures, you can control this and make sure and ensure that your data assets are in the favor of the company and protecting your business.
And I know we talked about the opposite of having the human element within this is that the humans can be the firewall. If they're trained properly and have the information of the protocols and what they need to know,
Mhm.
they can be a valuable asset and be of being that firewall for and protecting the organization. So
That's
we
great.
love all these terms that we come across. Human firewall. Okay, moving on. Use encryption. I even asked you, what does that mean to you? So encryption protects, and for nonprofits, donor credit card information. I think that's the ears are going to pop up on that one because they do collect donor credit card information.
Yes. For the first thing that I see when I see this slide, and I, through my experience as well in cybersecurity, is that you never email or let your donors send you their credit card information, personal identifiable information, or anything like that via an email. That is definitely wrong because there are attacks out there in the cyber world. There's one of them, like top of mind, called the man in the middle attack. And basically, it it works like if recipient A is sending information of a credit card to recipient B, the man in the middle attack intercepts that information and can read that email and, of course, get the credit card information while it's being sent to the recipient, and therefore can damage that information or compromise it or expose it to cyber hackers. So having encryption set up, meaning that when you're doing a business transaction with a donor, you make sure that your environment, the website that you're looking at, that the actual recipient goes to a website and stores their information or purchases or makes a donation with a secured website, not sending an email to an employee within a nonprofit organization. That's not the proper way to secure their information.
And just a quick tip of how they can realize or know that a site is secure, it's the HTTPS, or it has an SSL certification. Isn't that that's pretty much what encryption or means for basic
As
websites?
far as the website address, sure, the HTTPS lets it be encrypted, correct, but it's still, hackers have always tried to step one step ahead. That is a way that it's to be done, but again, it is recommended that if you are taking in payments, that the payment should be done from companies that have encryption mechanisms set up within the website, such as a PayPal or a Stripe or some sort of payment processing
Yeah.
center that can take your credit card.
Yeah, I think we in a future slide we talk about transfer of risk, and so that will play into that. Okay, encryption. Let's look at the next one. Security monitoring, and this is many people, organizations, I'll say, feel, oh, I put in all these software tools and things, and so why do I need to look at it all the time? But this is actually a very important element because, as you just said, new vulnerabilities pop up all the time, new different types of malware and things. So
Mhm.
it provides evidence of vulnerabilities when they happen. Plus, it will help maintain the trust of your donors. Speak a little bit more about this monitoring.
Sure. This goes to the assessment of your organization. It's like let's take example your home. Your home, you have a security system installed, right? A circus, you have a security system installed to protect your home from burglars and from thieves. When you have a security monitoring service, you're basically having a consultant take a look at your home to see if they see any vulnerabilities. Maybe that you need another lock on your back door. Maybe the bathroom in the back has a window that can be accessed that's not properly monitored, not with cameras in the back of your home. Those are type of vulnerabilities, and you think about that for your company, your business as well. You want to make sure by having a consultant look at your organization to see that they can assess any additional vulnerabilities that you may have within your organization. Perhaps it's the way that you have your passwords designed. Perhaps, like we mentioned in previous slides, how you are accepting information from your donors. You may have them send their contact information, which includes an credit card information or personal identifiable information, which you should never do. Things of
Abs-
this nature. And that goes in, again, training your donors as well when they send you information that you only accept it from a secured site.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, we're giving so many nuggets of information. I hope people are really paying attention and taking this information and sort of transferring it into what they're doing right now, because it's very valuable information. And the
Mhm.
next one is really geared toward nonprofits. You have a lot of volunteers or people out there that aren't necessarily coming into the office, or per se, let's say you don't have a stationary office, but you're using one of those co-ops or rented spaces where you have it for a few hours a month. Most of your work is mobile then. So mobile working protocols are critical for nonprofits, especially the volunteers that are using their own equipment. So let's really dig deep into this one.
Sure, absolutely. So we look at mobile devices. Nowadays, the mobile devices are the low-hanging fruit for hackers because companies are becoming more educated on looking for emails at their workspace on their desktops, right? Watching for
Mhm.
emails that can look suspicious, making sure they don't click on a suspicious website. Um, Things like their banking information, making sure that it is correct. We look at a mobile device, now hackers are going for SMS messages, meaning that
Mm.
when you receive a message now from a phone number, you don't even know who the person is now. Now you'll get a email from an SMS message that is from someone on your phone telling you that there's a website that you need to go to and click on for information to update, let's say, your donor profile.
Yep.
If you
I
don't know,
I actually had that happen. Someone sent me
Mhm.
your, I can't remember, your package was not delivered or whatever, something like that. Check the
Mhm.
status of your package. And I'm like, I haven't ordered anything. Now, generally, I would have to say, oh, I've got an order out there. Yeah, I know I got, but at this time, I just hadn't ordered. They can get into anybody's phone, and it's
Right.
so easy to do it.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. Very easy to do. Just be very, very careful of that. I always say, and we train our clients, if you get a text message like this, always vet it first, research it first, contact them either from the number that they've sent you, calling that number back, or if you have a number for this actual transaction, call the actual sender and verify that this is correct. A lot of
Absolutely.
times you'll find that it is correct and it's fine, but you still have those particular text messages that will try to get through to your system that are suspicious and fake.
Absolutely. And sometimes it's just about wanting to change or get access to like a Google Voice phone number. I,
Hmm.
that was the instance in one of mine. They were trying to get my code so they could change who the admin was to whoever they wanted to change it to. So
Sure.
yes, absolutely. Now we just talked about this a little bit, the transfer of risk, but this is a part of liability protection. And most nonprofits really don't pay this much, too much attention. I always talk to them about E&O, emissions and errors, the the insurance that they should protect their board. But now we're looking at cyber security liability insurance.
Hmm.
And many policies are starting to include it, but most aren't. So let's talk about liability insurance and transfer of risk.
Sure, exactly. So what we talk about transfer of risks, what you're basically are saying that if there is a threat to your organization, that risk can be assessed and to be transferred to another third party, like your insurance company, right? So you would protect you just like you have for with your homeowner's insurance or your car insurance. If something were to happen to your car, you have an insurance company that can provide protection of your data assets. Same goes with cyber liability insurance. If there is a breach to your organization, and a data breach could be shut down of your business, business continuity, data recovery, possible lawsuits, all those are different elements that are part of cyber liability insurance. And I definitely suggest talking with either our organization here, or myself, or Dr. Boyd, that we can direct you to insurance providers that can help you assess the type of cyber liability insurance that you could use for your business. But it's important to have it as well to give you this protection. Now, again, it is different than your general liability or your E&O, errors and omissions.
Yep.
This is cyber liability. This is when if a hacker attacks your organization and your company is liable because there was a data breach within your organization.
Yes, absolutely. And it's all about protecting the donors. It's because this liability insurance goes beyond your organization itself. It protects the donors too, which is one of the main things you want to show is that you are trying to protect them through your due diligence, and having that insurance is very important.
Right.
And that all leads into having a plan.
Yes.
The plan. This is where I think we get most excited because we can really help them create that plan
That's
and
correct.
even put it together. We told them it's not if you're going to have an incident, it's just when. So you got to prepare for those cyber incidents. You have to have policies and procedures, and those are the building blocks of really what everything else is impacted in your organization. And those policies, and just taking, for example, those organizations I work with, when I mention policies and procedures, I see their eyes glass over. It's like, oh, do we have to figure out what's supposed to be in them? And, all of this. Look at it this way. We're here to fill the gaps. Don't take time away from your mission and the programs and serving the community. Let us assess your organization and create these policies and procedures that will really protect you and be the foundation of your cybersecurity plan. So let's talk a little bit more about these policies and procedures.
Sure. So, Dr. Boyd, there was a great philosopher by the name of Mike Tyson that, that once said, everybody has a plan until you get hit in the face.
Yeah.
Right. So what this means is that you have to plan to not fail. And what this means is make sure that you have proper policies and procedures put in place. When the cyber attack happens or when this incident does happen, you have a plan how to recover. You have proper plans in your organization like business continuity, data recovery, BYOD policy. That means bring your own device. Now, what that refers to is when you have an employee that works for you and they're bringing their own laptop or their own smartphone and using your data assets, Wi-Fi systems in the organizations. There should be a plan about that. That could be a vulnerability point where you can have malware enter your particular environment. These are all plans you have, and there's lots of different plans that are out there. What we do within our partnership here is to assess your particular needs and make sure you have proper plans that are right for your business.
Yep, absolutely. And we'll get to all of that in a minute, but okay. Basically, we're saying now what? Because we've gone through some of the key vulnerabilities and critical points that you need to pay attention to. So we're saying you need to protect and prepare your organization with nonprofit cybersecurity training and services. And really, that's why we're here. That's why we're presenting this presentation today, to make the risk awareness that you have informed, that you become knowledgeable, but then we're going to help you answer now what. We believe training is one of the most crucial things. We've talked about the human firewall and the human element. That's your staff, that's your board, that's your volunteers. Those are those human weak links. If they are trained properly, ongoing, to know the current trends or threats that are out there, because as we both know, they pop up every day. Email gets hit over 2,000 times, and that number seems low to me, but at least 2,000 times per day. So there's a cyber attack per hour, so we need to make sure that what we provide you is comprehensive, it's thorough, and it's ongoing. Why we need to have it comprehensive and thorough is because we need to train your board, your staff, and your volunteers. And through our partnership, you're going to have access to quality training and services. So, Mac, at this point, give us a little bit of your background in the whole cybersecurity world, because I mean, you bring a world of expertise and knowledge.
Well, thank you. So my background is with my company, Vanderson Cyber Group. We've been in this industry of IT since 1984. So it's a long time in the business and I've been a programmer and a ethical hacker now for about 20 years. And before that, a software developer, a software programmer for accounting software. So I have a lot of experience working with lots of different industries, designing software code and accounting software for different businesses. My background is in business administration from University of Phoenix, and I have a master's degree in law from Thomas Jefferson School of Law. And I'm currently finishing up right now my doctoral degree and have a doctorate degree in cybersecurity assurance as well from Capella University.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Your background in cybersecurity is definitely an asset. And then the reason we thought that this partnership was going to be so powerful is because
Mhm.
of my background in the nonprofit sector.
Mhm.
As we talked and went through the planning process, I would interject different things. Well, nonprofits really look at it this way, and they won't really understand that part. And so we need to, take them through these steps also, and just the unique needs of nonprofits, especially
Mhm.
with the donors. For-profit businesses don't have donors. Donors are dependent on the relationship and the quality of your organization. And if they feel that you're going to be hacked, you're going to lose donors. So
Right.
combining your cybersecurity expertise, my nonprofit expertise, they've got a powerful program or resource here that we bring to the table. And I hope they'll understand that this is really a unique partnership that most organizations out there have not really delved deep into providing some of this assets. So let's see what we're going to show them. Okay, you're going to need training and services that digs deep, is focused on the needs of nonprofits, and continually monitors threats. Yeah, we already are planning out about 19 or 20 training modules. I believe that's digging deep. We're going to touch on every little aspect that you can think about and give the training, but
Mhm.
also we're setting it up so it's going to continually be added to. It's going to be
Mhm.
updated. So what are some of the topics that you're really excited about presenting to the nonprofits?
Well, there are lots of them, definitely key lots of them, and the key area or the concerns that I would like to present to nonprofits, it's like in all business, small and large, the three major concerns that a company have is in protecting their company's reputation,
Mhm.
avoiding financial losses.
Yep.
The third one, legal entanglements.
Oh,
How to
yeah,
avoid
yeah.
and mitigate illegal
Yeah,
entanglements.
when nonprofits hear legal stuff, they go, "Oh Lord," and that's when the board starts cringing. And I'm glad we have a special program for the board. Let's get into some other things. Okay, cyber hackers, the Decepticons of the world are here to stay. This stuff is not going away.
Right.
Every time we see Decepticons, we start laughing
Right.
because we were trying to make that as our logo, but I hope people know what Decepticons are. That's in the movie. See, I can't even think of the
Transformers. Trans.
Transformers. Right? They were the really bad people there, but
Yes.
it's like our logo where you have the hacker that's with the sunglasses and the hoodie on, is just digging deep. We want to put a hand up to stop some of the uh, Decepticons and the hackers that are really trying every day to access what you
Mhm.
have.
Absolutely.
Also, for you to understand, staff comes and goes. The turnover in nonprofits of staff and volunteers is high. So you have to have ways to address the new threats that arise every day. And that's why I think our training and services will be so valuable. So let me see, let's get into some of what we're going to do. We need them to plan training today to sign up for board of directors. Now, we separated out board of directors mainly because that is your governance body. That's those people are the people that govern and lead the organization. And so their role and responsibility is to ensure that the policies and procedures are in place. And so therefore here's a whole list of what we want to share with the board of directors. You want to go through some of these bullet points for the board of directors?
Sure. Yeah. Some of the things that in our training program we'll be discussing would be what is the risk, right? And
Mhm.
that comes from taking inventory of what your data assets are and what you can lose, what the hackers are looking for, and we'll go over some of the information that we've gathered that can help you assess this particular need in your organization. Secondly, we will then move to roles and responsibilities. Now, this means that each of the employees that works for your organization, even the board of directors, there are roles and responsibilities in relationship to cyber that we will discuss and assess. And it also will, this information can be woven within your current policies and procedures. We also want to make sure we look at that. When we look at policy procedures for a company, we will make sure that we're looking at your current policies and procedures that you've already established and make sure that we're adding cybersecurity to them. So we're not
Absolutely.
changing or rewriting your current nonprofit organizations. That's something that you guys have designed and developed over the years within your company, your structure, your business. All we're doing is adding a layer of cybersecurity information that you should be concerned with.
But if they don't have anything at all, and I hate to say it, there's many nonprofits, especially the
Sure.
small to mid-sized ones, that they
Absolutely.
really haven't
Hmm.
formalized policies and procedures. We
Yep.
can help with that because
Absolutely.
we can give them the starting point and really guide them through that process.
Yeah,
So
and that's
that's
great.
another exciting um, service that we can provide for them.
Yeah, that'd
But
be a great asset to do that.
absolutely. And so, just understanding liability, insurance, transfer of risk, and then implementing training protocols, because generally these decisions come from the board, that the staff and all of the stakeholders within the organization will go through training. It's the
Right.
board that makes those decisions. It's
Hmm.
actually their role and responsibility. So they need to really pay attention. So then we're looking at staff. Now they're going to get a different set of information and knowledge points because their role is different. They're in the day-to-day operations. They are the human firewall that we keep talking about. They're the ones that we don't want them to be that weak link. We want them to be the firewall to stop some of the threats that come that way. So they also will have risk assessment training, just plain old protecting donors and databases.
That's
How
correct.
basic.
Understanding how that works and what are some of the vulnerabilities in their database regarding their database. That is, in other words, is the database saved on their laptop or is the database saved in the cloud? And is that company that's saving the database, are they secured? What are their protections as well as a third party? Those are third party assessments to that part of the transfer of risk that we mentioned earlier. And that should be discussed and talked about and documented where the nonprofit understands where their data is at rest and where is it in transfer.
Yep, yep. And other things like understanding the mobile working protocols, because they are the first point of contact with all the volunteers, and so
That's right.
they almost have to become the teachers of when they're onboarding volunteers. But guess what? We have a solution for them. All of their new employees, staff, volunteers, even board members can take our training and all of that work is covered for them. They don't have to focus on that. So
And
that's a feature that we added, that they can have access to ongoing training, so they don't have to worry about when and if it gets done. It's just directing them to the training portal and ensuring that they get it, because our people will get a certificate that, or proof that they have finished the training, which is great way to vet and make sure that all of your staff is trained. But all of these other things are the things that staff work on a day-to-day basis, and we're going to make sure that this is part of that in-depth, dig deep, thorough,
Mhm, mhm,
comprehensive format that we want to ensure that we're offering. Because
mhm.
we also have train a thread of training for volunteers.
Right.
So once again, the staff doesn't have to worry about putting together a volunteer packet for them. Send them to the volunteer things. Once again, it's very similar to what staff has, but it's more what I call external safeguards, because volunteers are using more of the external, like you said, mobile phones, laptops that belong to them. And so these are, again, very important, especially we talked about those password protocols. Any other thing that you can think about for these volunteers that they might need to really focus on?
Yeah, these are just some of them. And again, a lot of these will come out once the assessment is done within the nonprofit to look at what they're currently are doing. They may have a protocol set within an organization. For example, they're using laptops for a fundraiser function. And then my questions would be, okay, so how are you storing your donors' information? Are you using Wi-Fi? Are you using your phone? Do you have a portable small device that you are using to access the internet? Or are you using the Wi-Fi from the facilities that you're in? You see,
Right.
if you're using those Wi-Fi from facilities, that could be it could be dangerous
Yeah.
if that facility itself is not secured.
Also, many of them at these events and activities and programs, they're using the card readers, for if they're swiping credit cards and things, is it from a reliable source like PayPal, where you get the little machine to work with, and you're transferring that risk. You know that as soon as it's transmitted to through that machine, that it technically should be safe. So we say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Here's another one. Here's an old school one. Okay. I'm not sure if nonprofits do this, but I've been to events where speakers as myself, we're selling books and we're selling back of the room products, right?
Yes.
And they will take out a form and they'll have the actual supporter fill out their information uh, to purchase their book or their back of the room product. And they will fill out information on a piece of paper, which includes personal identifiable information like a credit card number and
Yep.
expiration. That
Done
is a
that.
no. Yep, that's a no-no. We just don't do that anymore. Now with technology, we need to transfer the risk, because
Yep.
what you've done when you create it on a piece of paper, you're basically creating a currency. If it's
Mhm.
stolen, then you're exposing the donors or supporters
Yeah, I
information.
think
So
we need to, because they still use a lot of fill out forms at different events and things. Um,
mhm.
Several years
Yeah,
ago, I went to, if you're going to accept credit card, you have to have a device. You have to have one of the card readers and things. We're
yeah,
not going to fill out and put uh, data, or at a later date call them and over a phone transaction input
correct.
data, or send them a link for them to input their data, but never write it on a piece of paper and then hand it over to somebody you don't even know.
Right. Right.
They
And
might throw it in a box that's sitting there for the whole public to just grab.
that's right. And we can give an
Absolutely.
example of how this works. So think about restaurants you go to nowadays. In the past, once you finish your meal, you will given a little folder where you can put your credit card in, and the restaurant waiter or waitress would take it around the corner and swipe your card to take care of your purchase. Nowadays, restaurants, they are making sure they're protecting the reputation of their business. They're looking at the transfer of risk, right?
Mhm.
And they're looking at legal entanglements, like we talked about earlier. So they're looking at, or they're using now the actual handheld devices to
Yes.
swipe
Mhm.
cards, and they're doing it at the table. So now their liability is we never touch the customer's credit cards. And that's the same thing it should be for nonprofits as well. Your claim is that you never look at or exposed to any of your donors' credit card information. Just an example.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we have many examples because we feel we got them. We are here to help the nonprofits. We have specialized training for their board of directors, staff, and volunteers. And as we have been saying over and over, it's comprehensive and thorough awareness training. We have an ongoing education platform because even if you haven't had a turnover of staff or board members, there's been a turnover of malware and threats. And so you need to still have that training, even if it's a more condensed version of it, of what's new on the horizon of threats and, hackers coming after you. But you need to have something in place that you can go back and revisit uh, either every 6 months, quarterly, whenever onboarding a brand new person, that they have immediate access, that they don't really touch any of your equipment, databases, or anything until they have done this training. And then ongoing security monitor. This is like a real value packed feature that they can sort of sit back because we'll handle the monitoring. Give us just a little bit more detail on that ongoing security monitoring.
Well, basically, that works in hand with the educational platform, and that surrounds having your employees go through, for example, phishing simulations, where they are tested to make sure that they are aware of different types of fake emails, deep fake videos, those sort of instances, and they are protected from that with proper training.
Absolutely. So what we're saying for you now is where to get started. We want your organization to be protected. And so right now you can go to 501c3 cybersecurity.now.site. We have set up this website to, you could schedule a chat with myself or with Matt. You can register for training and you can find additional resources. But this is going to be a website where we're going to be continually adding information, adding more resources. Every time something comes up, we're going to put it on this website. And then we're also going to have our education platforms, and you'll be able to find out where those are, how to sign up for them, how to get access to them. But we are so excited to partner together to build this nonprofit cybersecurity platform. And I don't know, I'm just really excited and looking forward to what's on the future. You have any last words, Mac?
I think this is great. This relationship, the partnership will be great for the nonprofit community, building a link and understanding of cybersecurity awareness for the nonprofits and how to protect their data assets from these cyber threats that are continually growing out there. And this is one of the ways that we can provide our part.
Absolutely. So we're looking forward to helping you. Where you can get started is to go to 501c3 cybersecurity.now.site.